In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a printable in Canva that you can sell on Etsy or any other website for passive income. The reason why I love printables is because you can create them once and sell them over and over and over again. The passive income from things like printables is really amazing. So let's get started. I'm here in my Canva account, and as you can see up here, they have the design anything option, and then they have some ideas, so like Instagram stories, and they do have a planner 8.5 inch by 11 inch size template. So it's not really a template, but it is just a size of the canvas that is a typical size. So with Canva, you can always resize everything in either the Pro version, which has this little resize button up at the top left corner, or you can have a more manual process if you have the free one where you can just create the different sizes. But for now, let's just start with a 8.5 by 11 inch regular letter size design. So I actually personally sell all my printables in this size, so it is a very standard size. You can always start from here and then create the other options that you want. If you want to create a new design with whatever size you want, you can always go back to the home screen, and up here it says create a design. You can click that button, and then you can either select, it'll show you the size on the right of the name of whatever you're hovering over, or you can do a custom size down here with this plus sign, click that, and then enter the width and height of your design. So here's our canvas size, and over here you see templates that are just kind of ideas. So you can use all of the Canva templates for your own personal use, but you cannot use these to sell. So you can't really use it and just change up the colors and then try to sell this. But if you're going to sell whatever you're making, you need to start from scratch. So you can look through these and kind of get inspiration. It's a great place for inspiration for templates because these are things that people are using, and it actually has some of the things that you may want to make. So I'm actually going to make a chore chart for this example because that is something I personally need. My daughter is old enough now that she's doing chores, so I'm going to make a chore chart for her, but also just add it to my shop and sell it. So we'll go over here instead to elements. So what we're going to do is start with a fresh canvas and then start from there and create our design. So I'm going to start with elements just because I am going to do a colorful chore chart. I want something that's going to be fun for her. So I'm going to use, I think I pulled a couple different color designs. So she loves pinks right now. So we're going to go with pink. We're going to design this for a little girl, and we're going to make it colorful. So what we want to do is just add our elements. So I'm going to do a square because I think I'm going to do little squares where she can either add a sticker or check it off. Let's go with 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch, that'll give her room to do a sticker. We'll just add that element. That is a square. You can always search for square, and then it'll pull up all of these. You could also do one that is just an outline. Let's see how that looks. We might do that as well. If we're going to do a square, we could do either one of these. There's going to be 7 days of the week, so we need to copy and paste. So with this, to copy and paste, you can either go up here to duplicate or use a keyboard shortcut. And I personally just use keyboard shortcuts because it is so much easier, especially when I'm doing a lot of copy and paste. So I will just Command C and then Command V and paste this. So I'm going to do 7 of them. So one of the reasons why I love Canva is the ability to tidy up things quickly and easily. So as you can see, it just kind of pastes it wherever. So if you select all of them, they're all kind of all over the place, and you could just, manually do it and then make sure that they line up. Instead, you can also go up here to position, and then down here it says space evenly. You can go to tidy up, and as you can see, it tidies them up. So it does this automatically for you, which is amazing. And I do like how much color this adds to the page, so I'm going to go with that as our boxes to check off whatever chore it is. And I'm going to move them over a little bit. They do have these guidelines for the margins on your page, so that is helpful, but I always go a little bit over just because of how I like to print things, and I do like to make it even. So let's go right here. So we have our first line of beautiful little checkbox, marker, sticker areas for the chores. So that's going to be the bulk of our page and what this design has. but we also are going to need some lines. So let's go over here to line and search for a line. And then we can see Canva does have lines. So I am going to make this a super colorful chart. So we're going to choose another one from this palette down here. You can add another palette down here, which is one of my favorite things in the brand kit. They have a lot of different options for palettes. So you can go down here under brand kit and add and discover palettes. There's so many options that they've already put together that can make this really simple for you. But we're going to work off of this strawberry almond bar palette that I found, which is really nice. And it is a Canva Pro option. So if you don't have the Pro version, the paid version of Canva, you can't do this, but you can always just go up here and select your own colors and do it that way. And I like pretty thin lines, so I'm going to go down to 2 or 3. So it'll have some color, but it won't be overwhelming. And then of course, I like to line everything up. So I feel like that's pretty good. This gives me the space to write what the chore is and then the space to let her add some. So if we wanted to spread these out more with the tidy up option, you can always extend it a little bit and then redo your tidy up, or you can do the horizontal if you're trying to spread them horizontally. So that gives you a little more space between, or basically it ties them up between the 2 end ones. So if you want them close together, you just move the end ones and then tidy them up. So I'm just playing around with how that looks. So let's group these together because we're gonna want several of these. So you can go up here, you can select everything and go up here to group. So that makes this one item when you group it together. And then if you copy and paste, we can, let's see how many chores do we want on our page? Let's do several. So let's move this up a little bit and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 7 chores. We'll do 7 and 7. So we want it to come down pretty much here. So select them all, and then I'll go back up to position and tidy up, the best tool. And it will kind of offset your items if you have something that's over to the side. So when you saw the copy and paste, but we can just go back here, find the center and see how we like that. And if we like it, we're good to go. Or we can always, of course, reposition it. So if we want to move it over, we can do that. Let's play around with how the elements look. And you kind of want to think of your end customer. In this case, I'm the end customer, so I'm doing what I like. But you would just think of who you're designing this for and how they're going to use it. So maybe you would need to move it over to the right a little bit more, or maybe it doesn't matter. So in the center. Just thinking about how someone is using your end design, the printable, is going to help a lot. So this is looking good. I like how we have room to write something and then check boxes. So let's add some text, and this will probably get us closer to where we want to be with a printable. So we're going to need a heading, and it's probably going to say chore chart. Let's pick the design that we want. So these are the fonts that I use a lot. So let's pick one of the ones that I like. I love this Mont Bold, and then I use some of these as well. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna select the text color. You can change the text color by clicking the text color here, and then I'm gonna select that darker color that we were using down here for the lines. So we're gonna do a mix of colors, I think. You can either change the font size by increasing it here, or dragging and making it larger when you select the text on here. This is pretty cute. Personally, I like caps, but you can do all sorts of things here. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and you just play around with what you think looks good. So here is the chore chart. So I like this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then we're also going to have the days of the week here and then a title here. So we want to have some space in between. We will add some subheadings. So this actually is set up with my fonts that I use a lot. So it already changed the font to the one I use a lot as a subheading, but I'm going to do a different one. Over here, you can type the different things you want, but it also shows you some options like handwriting, corporate. I do like handwriting, so let's look for a handwriting font that might be fun for a little kid. So this Canva student font kind of looks cute. Apricots. Let's see, what are we going to call this? So this is going to be daily chores. So we will type it in so that way we can see what it looks like when we select different text types. And so you can just go through here and look at the different ones you like and see what looks good. So I did like that apricot one. And we're gonna change this. Let's do actually maybe a gray. So you can always change the colors and play around with it. I'm not gonna do a straight black, but here we go. That is the daily chores options. You can either here add another one or just do a copy and paste with text as well. And then you, of course, in Canva have the option to line it up with what you had there, which is kind of nice. For this one, I don't think I want that handwriting font. So let's go back and select the matching one here. So we got the M. I do like that, but maybe a little smaller. So you can still line it up with the text you have over here just by dragging in your mouse with the item. So now we need to copy and paste and do this 7 times, but also change the letters. So let's select them all and tidy up and see how we look after we've done that. So we go back up to position, tidy up. And so now they're all in a line, which is nice. Let's see if we can get it improved by doing the horizontal tidy up. So we can space them evenly horizontally and see how that looks. Editing in Canva is super simple and you can just play around with things until you like how it looks. Next, let's do the bottom section of our chore chart. So I like this. So the daily chores is good. So we're gonna select this daily chores and then go up to the top and do the duplicate. So then we have a duplicate that will just pull down here, and Canva makes it really easy lining stuff up with those grids that just automatically pop up. They make it super simple. So we're gonna change this to weekly so it matches. And then I'm gonna drag it over so that it lines up with the daily and weekly with that purple line like you could see. Instead of a square, let's do a circle down here. So we're gonna have a little circle, and it automatically popped up in that same color that I used on the previous elements, which is pretty nice. Thanks, Canva. They do kind of default to the last thing that you used. So let's do 7. So again, we're gonna select it and then copy and paste and position them again. So that's more of what I was thinking. And we're gonna move this up so it's right under the weekly. And then I want this one to line up with the weekly and this one to line up on the end. There we go. So we're going to select them again and do it all over again. So as you can see, you just play around with it. And because of the tidy up function, it makes it a lot faster than if you're doing it a different way. Here I'm going to do lines again. And then I realize I want to have a line underneath each one so I can write the chore. But I didn't do the spacing with these. I didn't have this together. So what I'm going to do is group this and then basically redo what I just did. Here you can do a copy and paste and do the same thing and line them up underneath so that they are even, but this is a lot of kind of trying to figure it out. So maybe you just go back and delete those. You group this one together and then you repeat the process. So we're going to copy and paste 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then we're going to move this guy down to the end. And then we're going to select them all and tidy up and see what that looks like. All right. So we spread them out a little bit and then let's tidy them up. And you just play around with this until you are happy. For the days of the week, I just want to copy and paste and then drag these down. And I'm just going to put these in the center of each circle. Because of how they're sized differently, they're going to fit differently in the circles, but you can just line them up based on the grid lines that show up. So you want to keep them on the same horizontal line and then just pull them over until this center line shows up in the circle. So that way they all kind of match and you have the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have the chore underneath. Let's duplicate the page. So you can click down here at the bottom. This is where they show the pages. So you can see the different pages. And this is our first option that we just designed. And then when you click on this, you can right click it and then go up here to duplicate. Or you can Command D, the keyboard shortcut. So we created a second one, and it looks the same as the first. Zoomed out a little bit so you can see the whole page at once. So let's say instead of this at the bottom, we want to delete a line or two of these and then duplicate that for the weekly chores. Let's just say that we're going to do it this way for an option for people. So we would have 4 daily chores, and then let's say we want to basically, let's delete this and just select this whole section and copy and paste it. So let's group it first to make it easier, and then we'll copy and paste, and then we can ungroup it if we want, or you can edit it while it's grouped, and then we'll just change this to weekly chores. And then as you can see, it kind of went into 2 lines, so you would have to expand this out a little bit to let that fit. So now we have daily chores, and then the day of the week they're done, and then weekly chores, and you can just select one, or you can also do, we have 4 here, so we could select 3 and then just copy and paste and then add that to the bottom. But then you can see it's a little bit too long. Select all of this and then drag it up until we can see everything on the page. So this might be a secondary option, and maybe we just need to move this up a little closer. So you can play around with the positioning. So maybe that's an option. So that way you have a little bit of flexibility. But I really like that first one that I was doing. So let's look at that again and think about how the person that's going to use this is going to use it. For me, I'm going to want a reward section. So my daughter's going to want some type of reward basically for doing the things this week. So let's go back and maybe try another option. While we're designing, you can create as many pages as you need and play around with how it looks without losing all of your original work. So if you like this first one and you think that could be my printable, that could be it, but I want to play with some other ideas, I highly recommend duplicating your pages and playing with a new idea, because you can also, if you're creating printables, sell them all these pages together as options and get a higher price point. A lot of times on Etsy, it's a race to the bottom with things like printables, and people are selling them for so cheap. So if you can do something like you have 3 different pages, then you can command kind of a higher price point or call it a bundle or something like that. So let's do this page and add a reward section. So we need some room for the reward section. Let's delete a couple of these weekly chores. So maybe it's like a little kid that only has a few daily chores anyway. I mean, my daughter has 1, so she really doesn't need this many. So let's leave it at 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's leave it at 4 and then move this one up, the weekly section up. And then we're going to copy this weekly chores and drag down this subheading and do a weekly reward. Drag it over so it lines up with the other text on the page. So the weekly reward, and then I just want to write in one thing here. So let's go back over to elements on the left-hand side, click elements, and then add a square. You can add a rectangle. You can type in rectangle, but I always just click square because it's over there and easy, but you can click that and then drag it around until you're happy with how it looks. So I just want to go over to the edge here where it lines up with all the other edges, and then also at the other side. So basically this is going to be my chore chart, and then I decide I want to move this up a little bit so that my sections are a little bit spaced out. Okay, so here is my chore chart, and I'm very happy with this. I think my daughter will like it. I think it'll be useful. I think that this is functional. So we're going to go with this. This is going to be the final design. But remember, I also have all of these other ones that will make this a little bit smaller so you can see it. So I have these other ones that I could also include as a little bundle for options. So I could also just package this as a 3-pack and sell it as a printable with 3 different options. Now we are going to design this and export it so that you can sell it on a site like Etsy as a digital download. So to do this, you'll go up to the top where it says download. It is just a little arrow with a line underneath it. And then for file type, you're going to want to select PDF print. It is suggested, but this is the highest quality that you can export for a design on Canva for a printable. So if they're going to print it, you want PDF print, and then you can include crop marks and bleed if you need to. And then personally, you can select all of them and download them all if you're going to do the 3-pack, which is a great option, like I said, or download just that first page, which is what we are going to use as our main one. So let's look at what they look like once we have them downloaded. So here is the 3-pack, and we will make this so we can see it on the screen. So here's that first page. It looks super cute. It would be really useful for a kid. If you don't want your branding on there, if you think that that's going to be too distracting, if this is a freebie, I highly recommend you have your branding on there. If it's a design that you don't really think that a kid needs to have your brand name on there, or you just think it's overkill, you can always just leave that off. So this is a page that has it left off, and it looks just as good. Okay, let's look at this first page. So we will zoom on out, and this is how it looks when it is finished. And then this is where you can kind of see if there's anything that you want to change or if it looks good to you. If you're selling this as a printable, I highly recommend you take the PDF download and print it out on your own computer at home and then just see what it looks like. That is super helpful as well. But that is how you create a printable in Canva, and it's super simple with all the tools that they have. I hope that this walkthrough was really helpful for you and that you are on your way to creating printables that you can sell on Etsy for passive income.